Well, good morning, everyone. Appreciate you joining us. I know we've got people from all different markets, and maybe if you want to throw in the chat which market you're zooming in with us today, that would be awesome. But this class is going to be for everybody, whether whether you've gone through 3 Ninja installations or you're just heard Ninja selling last week, and maybe you don't even have the book yet. But I am going to encourage you. This is what we're going to really cover during this class. So I would encourage you, if you don't have a Ninja selling book, you can go onto Amazon and purchase it. And that's basically, we're going to take this book in bite-sized chunks over 10 weeks, and we're going to be meeting for an hour each week. Some weeks may not be an hour, but I'm going to try to put in enough time where we can have time to chat with each other, depending on how many people we have in the class. And I can see that we're up to about 85. We're probably going to do a little breakout group at the end. So we'll break out into some groups, smaller groups. And I would encourage you, if you could just mute yourself. Carol's going to help me with that. But if you want to, I do want some participation in this. So if you want to talk, one of the little nice little cheats is that you can just press the space bar to unmute yourself temporarily and then let go of it. So if I ask somebody a question, you can chime in with that. With that being said, I'm going to move some things around here and go ahead and get started. So again, I mentioned we're going to cover this over 10 weeks. We're going to cover roughly 20 pages a week. And if you haven't had a chance, again, I would encourage you to get the book. And I'm going to also I've got a little sheet out here that I'm going to share with you in the chat room, so that you can, if you're one of those people who likes to take notes, then you can do that. If you'll give me just a second, I'll have this up here. And you should be able to go in the chat and then download it. And it's just going to be a little one-pager that if you want to download that and print it out, that would be great. If you want that ongoing, if you'll drop me an email, I'll put my email up at the end, and then I'll email you that ahead of time so that you won't have to try to download it and print it right now. All right, so we're gonna be talking about a little bit of background about Larry Kendall, who's the author of Ninja Selling, and the group. I don't know if any of you have had a chance to, most of you, I'm assuming, have either heard of it or maybe even gone through an installation. And the group is based out of Fort Collins, Colorado. They've been around for almost 30 years now, but they're unique in one way in particular, and that's their per person productivity. Real Trends has ranked them as one of, if not the highest in per agent productivity of all real estate companies in the country. The other thing that I have found interesting through them, and I got the chance to go out and go through a Ninja leadership course in Fort Collins, is that they test and measure almost everything. So everything from, you know, how often they convert their listing appointments to they actually predict their business over how many newsletters they mail out every month. So it's a pretty amazing company. And if you've got a chance to start reading the book, you hear Larry talk about the background of some of the people that had an influence on him. And so some of these I'm going to pull up here. Lou Tice, Marshall Thurber. Marshall Thurber is really credited by Larry of this idea of abundance versus scarcity. And that is a theme that kind of goes really throughout a lot of different parts of Ninja. And it's really the idea that just because, let's just take for a listing, for example, you know, in your market, just because you have a listing doesn't necessarily mean somebody else didn't get it. Now, I know in today's world where there's not many listings out there, and you might be one of 4, 5, 10 agents competing to write an offer for a buyer, that may seem a little odd, but it's really more of a mindset of having that abundant mindset versus one of scarcity, where, You know, maybe you have an idea, but you're not going to talk to anybody in your office or in your market about those ideas. So anybody have any examples of an abundant mindset? Maybe you have somebody in your office or in the company who you can think about right now that displays an abundant mindset most of the time. Not that all of us are going to do this 100% every day. All right, one of the other guys, most of you have all heard of Tony Robbins. Larry says they were one of the first companies to ever hire him. Probably that was well before he got to be as popular as he is, as he still is today. Dr. James Lower. Lower is a guy who is credited with working with a lot of athletes on performance mindsets, Olympians and other things. And then Tom Peters, who is an author, wrote In Search of Excellence, if you might have read that book. All right, so let's talk about the different resources for Ninja. Many of you have probably heard of a Ninja selling installation. That's basically a 4-day course, which goes through all this in much more detail than we're going to go through in our 1-hour sessions. And then we've obviously got the book that you've already heard about and hopefully have. And if you haven't visited the Ninja Selling website, I would encourage you to go out there and do that. There's a lot of free downloads on there. There's going to be a few more downloads and videos if you've actually paid for and gone through one of the installations. And then you've got, on the video side, I would also encourage you to check out YouTube. There's a number of Ninja videos on YouTube. And if you like podcasts, there's also a Ninja Selling podcast. So there's a lot of different ways that you can get this information. And I would encourage you, whatever fits your learning style the best, go out there and take a look at some. All right, so when we look at Ninja Selling, it really is going to cover all the different personality types. And if you've taken one of these DISC assessments in the Ninja course, they call them power, peace, party, and perfection. And it's kind of interesting. They break you into groups if you go to one of the installations. And for most people, he can nail it down pretty easily just by the questions that he asks. It's also documented. It's documented in the book. So it's a system that, as Larry likes to say, it's easy to do and it's easy not to do. So it's not something that's high pressure. Offers predictable results in all different types of markets with all different personality types. And there's a little acronym that they use, TSW, or the system works, or this stuff works. Or for Carol Williams, it can mean something else too. All right, 4 principles. The first one is personal mastery. And I'm just curious what some of your thoughts may be about personal mastery. Maybe you can throw those in the chat and we'll see what your thoughts are. But, you know, when I think about personal mastery, I think about having the right focus, controlling your energy. I know for sometimes for us that can be a little bit of a challenge. Then the second one is to stop selling and start solving. Larry talks a little bit in the book about the Apple store. If you've ever been in the Apple store, it's usually not too much of a sales or pressure situation at all, but they're really focused around solving your problems. So that might be something that, you know, we've all come across salespeople in various walks of life where people, you can just feel the selling pressure, and this is not what Ninja Selling is about. It's about helping solve people's problems. Then we've got the Ninja Business Strategy. The Ninja Business Strategy is really about having systems in place, having a process in place. And I think for a lot of people, if you'll explain that you have a process, that alone can get you business. I think of one of the things that we'll cover later is a pre-listing interview. So a set of questions that you could simply go through with somebody before you go on a listing consultation. And a number of people will say, you know, hey, you asked more questions during the consultation than somebody else that already has come out and spoken with me. So, you know, getting those business strategies in place is crucial. And you also on that piece, you're going to work with people that you know, like, and trust. And I have always found that it's easier to work with those people who know you in some sort of way, as opposed to somebody that's a total stranger. And then lastly, connect and communicate. By that, we're going to say that hopefully you have a sphere of influence or database. If not, I would highly encourage you to start working on that. And then it's really about staying in what we call flow with those people. So somebody help me out. Maybe I'm going to call on somebody. Jan Gordon, what do you think about when I talk about flow and connecting with your folks? You may have to unmute yourself. Sorry.
I said, oh, Lord, don't call on me. I'm glad you didn't hear me. All right. What, flow and connecting with your people?
Yep, absolutely.
I assume just staying in touch with them and making calls and just staying in touch with them.
Yep, absolutely. And it's kind of knowing what's going on in their life. Sometimes, I mean, I'm sure that if you've been selling real estate for more than a few years, you have people who at different times you're in better flow with. Maybe you have some hobby or something that you see them more often, so you're in better flow. There are other times where maybe a past customer, for some period of time, they're more in flow with another realtor, and you know, next thing you know, you figure out that their house has been listed by this other agent, and when you sit back and think about it, normally it's because you might have fallen out of flow with them. So this is going to be, Ninja Selling is a way that you can hopefully find a way to stay in flow with people and communicate with them more regularly. And you know, with our marketing department, that at least one piece of that is you know, they're trying to make that very easy for you, whether it's doing a direct mail piece or something else, that you can stay in regular flow with your people. All right, I know this is a difficult quote to read, but I want somebody to chime in and tell me who it is. And I know that many of you will know who I'm talking about here. I don't have as many of your faces up.
That's
on the
Yoda.
screen. Yes, that is Yoda. Who was that? All right, thank you for whoever chimed in there. But you know, do or do not, there is no try. So when I think about personal mastery, I don't know why, I guess I've seen too many Star Wars movies, but Yoda is somebody that comes to mind. He's somebody who talks to Luke in many different ways about his mindset. And so mindset is very pervasive throughout Ninja. And I know for some of you, for me, it was, some of it may get a little, what I call woo-woo, but I think if you'll just have an open mind going into this, that you will, you'll get more out of it. But it's really, a lot of it is about your mindset and how you approach things. Secondly, it's skill set. So, you know, do you have that system in place for talking to somebody about listing their house or working with a buyer? You know, when I think about a buyer consultation, I think in today's market, it is more crucial than ever to have that consultation ahead of time with your buyers so they know what to expect. Because I think pretty much in all of our markets, it is hyper competitive around buyers trying to find a listing that they like and that they can win an offer on. If you'll have that consultation, you'll have a process ahead of time, that will put you ahead of the game and maybe keep from having to write 6, 7, 8, 10 offers, which I'm sure is happening in some of your areas and offices. All right, and then lastly, your actions. And this is kind of where the rubber meets the road. What are you going to do on a day-to-day, a week-to-week basis? And one of the things that is big on this is something that we'll cover, calling the Ninja 9. And if you've gone to a installation, you may have seen a little Ninja 9 postcard. You may have seen some of the different things. But what about some of you? I'm assuming that some of you have gone to a Ninja installation. I'm just curious, or maybe you've been studying it to some degree. Has anybody done well with something specifically from the Ninja 9? And I guess I'll have to call on somebody. So, Mr. Gandy, how are you? I know you're a new licensee, but glad you could join us. Have you heard anything about the Ninja 9?
Not specifically, no. My mom took the course and has been telling me that I need to be getting into all this. I've just started reading the book. So
well, thank you for joining us. I'm going to give you one little tip here. Is one of the items on there is focusing on your hot list and your warm list. So I'm just going to pull one of those things out of there. And that, hot list, somebody that's going to buy or sell in the next roughly 60 days. And hopefully they know that you're going to be their agent and you know that they're going to be your client. And then somebody on a warm list might be somebody that's going to buy in the next year. But we need to keep a hot and a warm list and continually look at that, have it written down somewhere, so that, when you're browsing through the new listings from that week, or you hear somebody in your office talking about a new listing that they have coming up, this person will be top of mind for you, and that you can possibly connect them with a listing that's coming on the market.
Hey, Neil, this is Jenny.
Yes.
So I think the biggest one for me is number one. I break down your daily gratitude and to take some time each morning to write a list of things you're grateful for.
Well, thank you for bringing that up, because on the if you did get a chance to download my PDF, their gratitudes was on the top, and I guess on next week I'll put in a slide for gratitudes. But anybody, by the way, I'll just take a pause here for a couple of minutes. I want you to think about something you're grateful for. It could be related to real estate. It could have nothing to do with real estate, but like she mentioned, take time to start your day before you grab the dreaded or the loved smartphone and it takes control of your day. Take some time to say, and even better if you write it down, something that you're grateful for. So I'm gonna give us a couple of minutes here, and if you want to drop it in chat, or if you want to just unmute yourself for a second, tell us something that you're grateful for. How about it, Keith Kirkpatrick?
Well, I'm fairly new to Crye-Leike and been an agent since 2016, but I'm more grateful for the training and the things that I have learned being part of this company. From my previous brokers, did not get the specialized training that I've received thus far. So kudos to Nancy Carroll, my broker. This is a really good place to be, and looking forward to at least your sessions with the Ninja training and then taking the course as well.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing with us. Let's see, who else? Kathy Tucker, you got some gratitudes to share with us today?
Yeah, thank you, Neil. I'm grateful, quite honestly, for the leadership from this company, having a vision and giving us the training that they do, and I wouldn't be anywhere else.
All right. And I tell you, I'm grateful. I had a couple of kids that went off to college this week, so I know they're grateful. Maybe that they've been home since March, so they're probably grateful to be away. But I'm grateful that they're getting to do that. Not sure how long it'll last, but I'm grateful that they're able to do that. How about one or two others?
Neil, this is Anita Bell in Marion. I'm grateful for the support staff that each of our offices have. I'm in an area where there's not any support staff at all in other offices. And I'm just thankful every day that I've got an OA to help discipline us, I guess.
Well, that's a great way. And that also can kind of fall back into your mindset. Hey, just being grateful for the people that help you out in your office, the OAs being a big one. Let them know that you're thankful. It doesn't have to be taking them to lunch, but it could be. It could be just, dropping by and saying thank you for something they've done for you. All right, I'm gonna take two more. I see Mary Sharp on here with us. Mary, anything you're grateful for today? Nothing like getting put on the spot.
I can barely hear you. I'm here, but I can barely hear you.
I'm just looking for something you're grateful for today.
I'm grateful to be alive, breathing, and still able to sing.
All right. Awesome.
Amen.
Thanks for being with us. All right, so let's move on. In the first chapter, Larry talks about, and this again relates back to mindset. Are you a player or are you a victim? And he talks about a lady named Maria who basically figures out that she was in more of a victim mindset, and that in general, people don't get too excited about working with victims. And, you all probably have somebody that maybe pops to mind on the victim side, somebody that can have somewhat of a negative or a woe is always me mindset. But what we want to focus in on is becoming more of a player. And so most of you probably recognize Serena there. She's a player. There's a lot of people that are in real estate that will have more of that player attitude. And I kind of think it relates back to attitude and confidence. If you're working towards getting there, one of the things that is suggested would be positive affirmations and writing those down and doing so in the first person, a declarative type of a way. I'm curious, does anybody on here write positive affirmations or use those in their daily life that they would want to share with the group today?
Hey, Neil.
Yep.
This is Connie Lester. Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine. Thanks, Connie.
One of the things that I try to do on a daily basis is, in tennis, I play tennis, not like Serena, but I play tennis. and one of the things that they say is forget about the last point and think about be in the moment. You know what I mean? And a lot of us, when we have a setback, whatever it is, whether we lose a listing or whether we have a difficult buyer or whatever, we wake up in the morning, instead of thinking about that, I try to think about, what am I doing today to move forward in my business, and kind of forget about that last point that I hit the ball on the net. You know what I mean? So I think that's one way to stay positive and not look backward, but look forward.
One of my friends that is with Crye-Leike, Jerry Modesto, who I've known for a long time, knew him from another company that we were at, is he's somebody who always has a very positive mindset. But one of the things that Jerry does that I don't know how many people I've told this to, but when something doesn't work out with him for a client, his saying was next. And it was just like, on to the next one, and I'm not going to let that last one bother me. So that's kind of what that reminded me of. But thanks for sharing that with us, Connie. All right, next, vibrations in chapter 2, about having a good vibe. And this is one of those things that I was talking about earlier. It gets a little woo-woo. It's talking about people and energy, but I think all of us know there are some people that have, well, let's just say better vibes than others, or I should say more positive vibe than others. And, you know, Larry says that ninjas are good at creating good vibes and sharing good vibes. And one of the other things that's kind of out of this, he talks about, you know, we've all had situations where you think about maybe somebody and you reach out to them and they say, you know, that's interesting. I was just thinking about you. You may have this with your clients, with when you call them about some house and they're like, you know, I was just looking at that house. Maybe they're seeing it online. And so part of Ninja is not only emanating good vibes, trying to keep your energy level positive all the time, or as much of the time as possible, especially around your clients and around other agents and realtors, because, hey, people want to work with positive people. And if you're in a situation where you've got a listing and you've got multiple offers, a lot of times your clients might say, well, who would you rather work with? You'd probably want to work with somebody who's got a good vibe and somebody who's easy to work with. One of the things I tell people, I've told agents for a long time, you know, every time we co-op with somebody, you either want to work with that person more or you want to work with that person less. And I want us to be the kind of agents who people want to work with more. So they see our offers, they'd really like to get those worked out. All right, the chapter 3 is talking about controlling your emotional energy. And this is on 2 different ways. So you can have either kind of a high energy or a low energy. You know, if you're looking at the vertical on this scale, high energy or low energy. And then are you being positive or negative? So I'm kind of curious, maybe some people can chime in here. Who are some, and let's not use agents in your office, okay? But who are maybe some characters or people from movies, cartoons, whatever, that you think of when you see these different quadrants of high and low energy and positive and negative?
Hey,
Anybody come to mind?
Hey, Neil.
Yes.
I heard a speaker one time that I thought was just the most fabulous woman ever. I could go on about her, but she talked about Tigger and Eeyore. And Tigger with such high energy and Eeyore with such low energy. And that has really stuck with me.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up, because I always think about Eeyore as the low negative, but I didn't really think about Tigger, so thank you for that. Who else? Anybody? I see some people in chat, but I haven't had a chance to catch all the chat. So Monica on Friends. Now, where are you saying, Jody, where are you saying Monica on Friends? Which quadrant is she always? I'm thinking she's probably high positive, but I'm guessing that's what you're thinking of. Yep, high positive, that's what you're saying. And Tony Robbins would definitely be in the high positive quadrant. I agree with that one. So Larry talks about that's a good one about Jack Nicholson. I like that. I like the Roadrunner, Pat, nice. So one of the things that you want to figure out a way when you are performing, and when I say you're performing, you're in front of a customer face to face. Now, you can't be so high energy that people get worn out by you, but you need to work yourself into that high positive quadrant specifically when you're working with your clients, whether that be on a meeting a buyer, showing them houses, or working out an offer, or doing a listing consultation. So figure out a way. And one of the things that's mentioned in the book is having a ritual, and we're going to get to that some next week. But what is it that you're doing to get yourself ready? Whether that's, maybe it's listening to some music, maybe it's going on a brisk walk in the morning. Curious, does anybody have a let's call it a pre-listing ritual that you do before you go meet with a client to try to push yourself more in that high positive quadrant? Anything for you, Vicki Blackwell?
Of course. Good morning.
Good morning.
So 35 years into real estate, I still get nervous about going on a new listing and meeting buyers. And especially when we have some negative folks. So what I do is I repeat things. I use this from the Ninja installation and positive affirmations. I am healthy. I feel good. I'm wealthy. Everything's going to go great today. They're going to love me. This is going to go great. They're not going to want to list it for 5%. They're going to want to pay me 7%. Just say these things, even though I might be thinking they're not true. And then another thing I do for negative people is when I'm away from them, I say, universe, give them all the blessings in the world. Let them feel good. They're going to be happy. They're going to be great. Pray for good things for them. Even though they just cheated me out of 2 sales, I pray good things for them. And then even though we're actors when we're out there showing property, listing property, we're like, even though we don't feel that way on the inside. But a lot of times I just ask a lot of questions of people, and they really like to talk about themselves. Most people do. And that makes them feel good, which it's all about how they feel is how they perceive you. So that's kind of some of the things I do.
Well, that was awesome. Thank you for sharing that. There's so many good things in some of the things that she said. I also see some people putting in chat Bible verses of encouragement, praying. Those are all great things. I think if you can have some of those positive affirmations right before you go into a meeting with people, again, she's controlling her energy and putting it in a positive atmosphere versus, oh, what am I going to do when they ask me to cut my commission, or oh, they might not list with me. And I think, to me, specifically on the listing side, but it also is important on the buying side, displaying a high level of confidence is about the most important thing that you can do when you're going to talk to somebody about a listing. So, some of that may be for you newer folks. You may have to fake it a little bit before you make it, but work on that confidence. Work with some people in your office or your broker on going over some things with your listing consultation so that you can develop more confidence. And the more confidence you have, generally, the better it will go. Anybody else have any like a pre-game, pre-listing ritual that you go through that wants to share? No? All right. We will move on. All right. So one of the things that we're gonna break up into some groups for about I think it may go like 10 minutes because we're still going to be under time for today. But these are some of the things that I want you to talk about, and I'm going to break us into groups of about 5 people. And so I want you to talk about in your group, what is there a specific ninja skill that you want to acquire? Or let's also discuss, maybe you've got a challenge in some of the things that we've talked about today. Or lastly, what can you put in action? So if you'll give me a second, I'm going to break us into some groups, and we'll go into about, let's see. I think that'll get us close. So we'll come back in about 10 minutes, but I'm going to let you, hopefully you can connect with somebody that you don't know, because we've got a lot of people from all over the Crye-Leike footprint in here. So we're going to go in about 10 minutes and discuss these questions, and then we'll be back. All right, next week, we're going to cover pages 21 through 40 in the book. So again, these are bite-sized pieces. That's going to be, we're going to wrap up a few minutes early today, but if you have any questions specific to Ninja that you would like some help with, or anything that I can help you with, I'll be glad to stay around for a few minutes. Otherwise, I will see you next week. And if you want to drop me an email, I think my email address, but it should just be neil.hubbard@crye-leike.com. You can send me an email if you want me to send you an invitation, and I'll also include that one-page PDF for our meeting next week. If you want to just drop me an email and let me know that you want that, I will include you in that list for next week.
You got anything else?
Yes, we're going to meet every Monday for an hour. We're going to do it over 10 weeks, so it'll only be roughly 20 pages per week, so it'll be little bite-sized pieces.